Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining this. It's very special for me to be here with all of you. After a lot of work from everyone's side, we finally got out to the market what you all know very well, which is OptiShade. And what is it, and what is all the fuss around this device? Okay, it's a dental colorimeter specific for dental materials, teeth, and all the colors inside the dental color space. It is a contactless colorimeter, meaning that it doesn't touch the tooth you are measuring, even if it touches around. And this is of great value. And at the same time, it's a shade reader, meaning on one side, it gives me the color coordinates, that makes it a colorimeter, but it's a shade reader because it gives me as well some comparison if it's an A1, A2, or 110, 120, 3M1. It compares to a lot of databases. It's operated by the iOS environment, meaning it's an Apple driven device. So I can connect it to my iPhone, to my iPad. And last but not least, this device is aligned. Aligned with what? With a very high-end spectrophotometer, meaning that everything that I can read with this device, I can then extrapolate it to a very refined spectrophotometer. So it's useful as well for research and for other applications as material development. So let's start to see what OptiShade speaks. And OptiShade speaks universal. It means it gives me all the coordinates, all the color readings in LAB numbers. LAB, it means that it gives me L, which is light or dark, gives me A, which is red, gives me B, which is yellow. In other words, moving through this color space, OptiShade specialized in the dental color space. Can you please mute your microphones, please? I'm having a lot of feedback here. So, as I was telling you, OptiShade can tell you any color of the dental color space in precise numbers. And let's see how it applies. I mean, anything I can see here in numbers, it means that the L, it's lightness. So meaning that this tooth, it's 74.9% white. It is 2.4 red, and it's 10 yellow. If I have any other color, it is 64% white, 3% red, 8% yellow. So in this way, I can really know how every tooth has its own color, its own coordinate, and I can compare it. I can compare it for a restoration, a crown, or just a tooth filling. So if we understand color and we have a beautiful device that can give me a very precise color, then we have a lot in our advantage. So what are let's talk about the benefits and let's talk about the limits about OptiShade. So the repeatability, and you're going to start hearing these numbers, 0.2 delta E, 0.4 delta E. It means the amount of repeatability that this device has. In other words, it is 99.8 repeatable. Okay, that's the exactness, that's the precision we have with this kind of device. Every time I do a measurement with OptiShade, I have all the tooth, meaning that I can see the incisal edge, I can see all the characterizations, okay? All of these while not contacting the tooth. I have a smartphone interface, meaning that today I am using OptiShade with iPhone 12, but tomorrow I'm going to use it with iPhone 13, more and more powerful, more and more capable. So every time I use OptiShade, I'm using billions of dollars of investment in software. And this is very good because you're going to see how it works. Okay, it's ready for several applications as ceramic mixing, for example. And you see, this small device fits in the palm of your hand and has as a big advantage the price. And you all are going to hear about clients saying, oh, why it's so expensive? And just to tell you, any colorimeter that offers half of the capabilities of this, it costs 4 or 5 times more. And it is 10 to 20 times the size and the weight. So to put you in context, my technician who has been using a dental colorimeter for the last 10 years, in the moment he saw this, he almost fainted, because now he can carry this in a small bag like this, in his own portfolio handbag, okay? And it's 5 times, 4 times less the price. So every time you get into this argument, or anyone that can feel that this is expensive, trust me, it is not. It is, it requires a little bit of training for knowing how to disinfect it, and it's very simple. We're going through that. The positioning of the device is crucial, okay? So if you want your clients to have the best color readings, they have to learn how to position, okay? Of course, some logical things is not getting the color directly into the sunlight or with intense light, or telling the patient, learning that they have not to breathe on the device. Okay, let's see what it's OptiShade. So OptiShade, it is a 3-part device. Here in the part number 3 are the brains, the camera, the colorimeter, the shutter button. Okay, let's say it's the most delicate part. Then the cone, which is the part that will connect this and that will bring everything into the mouth. And finally, the calibration cap. All of these will fit together beautifully to form our OptiShade. So this OptiShade, I'm going to connect it to my cell phone, and this is going to be calibrated with this calibration cap. Let's say that this cap will be always in place, except when I'm going to measure. And you can connect it virtually with any iPhone which is around. I mean, anything that runs iOS 14, which are 93% of the Apple devices, can perfectly run them. So what you're going to find in your box, it's the following. It is 5 cones, 5 calibration caps, 1 OptiShade, and 2 cables. Of course, the brochure and the booklet. So you have a beautiful colorimeter that fits in the palm of your hand. This is managed by an incredibly powerful color application, okay, which is of course the OptiShade, that allows you not only to measure, but to manage your files, and the most powerful feature, which is sharing. Okay, it's incredibly easy to share. Now let's talk about positioning, because once you have your OptiShade connected, once you are ready to measure, you have to ask your clinician or your client to learn to position correctly. It is pretty much the feeling of an intraoral scanner. And when you position it, you have to be sure that you include your teeth exactly into the horizontal plane. Meaning that if you detach the tooth from here, you're going to start having errors. And the more you detach, more error. And the more you detach, more error. It is like if you try to use a microscope. If you want to see everything in focus, it has to be in position, okay? And especially if you adapt yourself to the situations where there's a tooth missing. And of course, we're going to have all of this in the brochure. We have all of this in the brochure, so the client can read the booklet, and it's very important, so they can learn the positioning.
What?
So they can see the positioning, and they can learn perfectly how to put this. Meaning, let's see how it looks in the reality. If I am positioning my OptiShade and it is very rotated, it's up, it's down, it's distal, or it's mesial, of course, the best readings I will get in the center. So it's not ideal to have the tooth moving around. I want the tooth perfectly in the center. Okay, as we are taking advantage of every pixel and everything. Here everything's correctly centered and looking good. It has to be looking good, sharp, in focus. So if I do one picture like this, and then I do other, and I compare them, the level of error that OptiShade has, it is basically 0. So the value of this, it's enormous, because I can really have the truth. Yes? I have someone speaking. So if I put 2 teeth, taking at the different time, different moment, but in the same conditions, error will be 0. And you can see here the delta E. Delta E is the color difference, which is here 0.12, which means it's nothing. It is 99.9 the same, okay? So this is of great value, especially when measuring patients. And look at this, all the information you can get from a single shot. It is incredible. I have the patient's name, notes, number of the tooth, the color of the coordinates of the spot I'm measuring, the type of database I'm using, the closest match to that database, in this case, with Beta 3D, which is very widespread, okay? The real color difference between the spot and the database, and the numerical coordinates. I have the date, the hour of the measurement, the level of battery, so, and the sharing capabilities. Everything is explained on the booklet. So if you already have one, you can start browsing around to learn, because this is a very advanced piece of technology, but at the same time, very friendly. So people can start playing, but they just need really 20 minutes of training or reading to start using this very advanced piece of technology. Let's see how it works in the clinic. This is in a dental laboratory. I just have to ask my patient to hold the iPhone facing my face, okay? So I just have to retract the lips and ask them to stay still and hold the breath, okay? I'm just going to position my device looking at the screen, and then I'm going to do click when everything's good. Okay, so before starting, I always connect OptiShade. I always calibrate. You see here in the application, it says connected. So what I'm going to do, it is with my clean hands, I'm going to take out the calibration cap and leave it safely on the table. So by this moment, the calibration cap, it's intact, it is perfectly safe, it is perfectly clean. And now this is the part that it's going to be contaminant. So I'm going to take my OptiShade and my phone. Here I'm working in the clinic. And for example, if you don't have any help or the patient doesn't want to collaborate, I can put my telephone or my iPad in a chair, always facing in the same orientation that the teeth. So I can work independently and just retract the lip, find the position of the tooth. So here it's how it looks. It's pretty much as an intraoral scanner. So the movement I'm going to do in the mouth, it's the movement that you're going to see on the screen. So that is why I suggest to have the phone very near the mouth of the patient. It is really, really easy, really intuitive. And remember, positioning, it is the main factor to obtain repeatable coordinates, because if you get away or you get near or detached, you're going to start having errors. So it's quite easy to do this, okay? You have two ways of clicking. You can click on the bottom of the device and it will record the measurement. You can click on the virtual button on the screen, so anyone can do this measurement. Here it's a measurement and you see a small circle, okay? This small circle is called the sweet spot. What does this mean? It means that, of course, the colorimeter, it's very accurate, it's very precise, but it is most precise in this area, in the center of the area, as in the cameras, where the most beautiful image, it's on the center. Here it's the same. The most repeatable, it's here on the center. So that's why we have this function, which is the sweet spot. I can put it more intense, less intense. I can activate it or deactivate it. And it's extremely useful when I measure to locate everything. And you see here, I am using the sweet spot to measure a very small tooth. In this case, here we have a very small canine. And really to center it, to have the perfect measurement, I use that, okay? So here it's another example of me using the sweet spot to locate perfectly the center of a central incisor. So once I got the measurement, I can browse around with my square, and you see as I move the square, the numbers will of course change. If I don't have a match, as here in the chromoscope, I can have another database, in this case, the Beta 3D Master, and or the Beta Classical. There are several, and you can install them directly from the website, okay? So you can use the compare tool to use one measurement. Here, for example, it's measurement number 1. And here it's a measurement of the tooth after bleaching. And you can see the mathematical difference of tooth number 1 and tooth number 2. So I can track the bleaching of my patients. I can send all this measurement to my technician to say that the tooth, it's an A1, or better, it is an A1. Sorry, let me go back. So for example, here, if this measurement, I am doing it, for example, with a A1, let's say, no, B1, it said. So here I am learning, I'm telling my technician that this, it's a B1, but not only tells me it's a B1, It tells me as well that the difference between the B1 from the shade guide and the B1 I got, it's slightly more red and slightly less yellow. So if the technician knows how to interpret that, you're going to get amazing, amazing results. Okay, now let's see how I disinfect OptiShade. For example, I use disinfectant wipes, and every time I disconnect the cable, I already do it in an aseptic way, okay? Afterwards, after my phone is safe and clean, I'm going to, of course, clean the cable, and now you're going to see the OptiShade, which, as you can see here in the tip, it's somehow dirty with saliva. So as well, I detach the cable. It's the least contaminant part. I already removed it with the cleaning wipe. And here, I'm going to take that cone into cold sterilization. Like if you have an ultrasonic bath or some chemical compound, just don't use chlorine or similar products that can change the color. Here it's my disinfectant wipe for my glass. So I go all through the glass and all through the parts where I place my finger on, including the bottom. You see, the disinfectant wipe, it is moist. It is not damp, it is not wet, it is just moist. We don't want liquid infiltration in any of the connectors or any of the joints or any of the, any place. After, you're going to get a small sediment here of the disinfectant. So what I'm going to do is just wait that it's completely dry, and I'm going just to pass microfiber. So the glass has to be spotless, okay? And this is basically it. If we're learning how to position and learning how to disinfect, it is, it was the most difficult thing about this. Imagine how easy it's all the rest, okay? Once I have my OptiShade clean and my cone clean, I always mount my clean calibration card. And if it was not clean, I can get rid of it. I have always 1, 2, or 3 cones already mounted and already perfect. And I put them in my in the original package from the cones, okay? One, it's mounted. Okay, and one other cone, I put it here under the safetiness of this this beautiful packaging, which I never throw away, okay? Because it keeps clean from dust and light and moisture, okay? So OptiShade has several applications, from doing a very, very challenging single crown, or for this, we use mathematical ceramic mixing, so with the numbers of OptiShade. Or if I am curious and I know how to interpret the LAB coordinates, I can just do trial and error. So meaning I do the color that OptiShade told me, and then I measure with OptiShade and I see the mathematical difference, and I just can correct with some of the tints. And you know, the technicians are very, very skillful in this. I can use it for research. So this is very good device to give to propose to universities, to researchers, to independent people who are using this. Quality control of materials, okay? Because these measures up to the standard industry standard levels. I can use it for the bleaching. If someone's bleaching teeth, this is a must-have tool. I can track the aging of my materials, of my temporaries, of my composites, or see how stable are my ceramics in the mouth, for example. I can use it for denture teeth selection, and it will be compatible with composite layering, but this one, it's something we're going to do in the near future. People always ask me if can I put more color databases? Yeah, and so far we have one that comes pre-installed and other 4 that are already, I can download them and I can install them in my OPTISHADE app. Okay, so this is very, very good. So if I work in my clinic and I have already my databases installed and everything perfect, I have all the cones ready for doing 4 patients in a row without cross-contamination. This is beautiful. But what about if I travel? And this is one of the things that OPTISHADE was designed for, to be portable. We designed as well this traveling case. Okay, it's you can see the size of my hands and the size of the bag. Okay, it's really smaller than a GoPro case. I have there all the compartments, so the slots to fit first a fully mounted OPTISHADE. Okay, so I place it there. It's stable, it's fixed, it's protected, and then I have all the other compartments for a fully mounted cone. So I'm always ready to change the dirty cone if I use for a patient and calibrate again. And I have always the chance to carry a new calibration card. Remember that the calibration card, it's the soul of the system, and it has to be perfect in perfect conditions, because the calibration system, the calibration card, it's what allows your OPTISHADE to communicate with my OPTISHADE with virtually no error. They speak the same language. All the thousands of OPTISHADEs that are rolling around the world, they give you the same coordinates. Okay, so this is beautiful. So here I put my cables. I normally carry my charging cable and the cable for my iPhone in my case. Okay, so I can see 3 patients with this, and I can fit it in my backpack. It's really, really beautiful. You can carry as well one clean cone, as I told you. Okay, now let's see some applications. As you see, for example, some errors that you're going to learn to tell your clinicians that color, it's something incredibly delicate. And being delicate, OPTISHADE can read what are these differences and what is going on. For example, if I don't follow the principles of measuring, you are going to get different colors. And you don't want them to tell, oh, OPTISHADE is giving me the wrong colors. You are going to become experts in interpreting the measurements. For example, here, this is how you're supposed to take the color. This is the right color. And here it's, for example, the patient closed the teeth. And just because of all this color contamination, the color changed and changed on delta 1. Delta 1, it is a small number, but high enough to be visible. So it is a big deal. If I have the same situation and I measure on the incisal, where the contamination is more evident, I have a delta 1.89. Okay, so I'm going to do everything as possible to have always the same situation. So I will tell the patient to open the mouth, to stay still. I'm going to position everything in the perfect place. And one question I get very frequently, it's what is the problem if I measure with one OPTISHADE and then with another? And the answer is nothing. And here it's one example of one measurement done with OPTISHADE number 1, and here it's with OPTISHADE number 10, for example. And they gave me the exactly same coordinates. And the software tells me with this yellow dot that these measurements were taken with a different OPTISHADE, which is not bad. It's just useful to know it. okay? And for example, if I take my color in different days, my patient has just to have the same situation, okay? And you see the difference between them. As long as it's under 0.5, it is practically you're talking about the same color. See, two different measures, 2 different days. The difference, it's almost near to 0. But what happens, for example, if my patient comes today and I measure and the color, it's different. And just check out this situation where on my left side, patient didn't brush. The tooth was slightly dirty with a little bit of plaque. And after I clean it, I remeasured and I got the same number as always. Okay, comparing. Okay, this is the comparison tool. It is on the app, it is free, and it is of very, very high value. And you see the color difference between a dirty tooth and a clean tooth, it is enormous. So one of the principles of measuring correctly a color, it's clean the teeth. Okay. Doctor, how come OptiShade didn't give me the perfect crown? No, OptiShade will give you the perfect crown and the perfect measurement. But if you measure when the tooth was dirty, that's an issue. Or for example, if you get here tongue, for example, here I have my tongue. In the back, of course, it will add a lot of red. Okay, it added 1% more red. So I don't want to receive a red crown. But anyways, now that you know, what happens if I don't have a match? It happens nothing. So OptiShade, every color you see on the app has a reason to be. OptiShade will give you the closest match available, but it will give you the true colors. Okay, so as long as you rely on the LAB numbers, you will be able to interpret what's happening. Of course, OptiShade will help you telling you the most similar thing here, it's B1. Good. So my technician will know if they have to add a little bit more red or a little bit more yellow or a little bit more white, whatever, okay? They will know what to do with these numbers. And if they don't know what to do with these numbers, we're going to give education about what to do with these numbers. Look, for example, as here in this premolar, which is, it's already very good because with OptiShade you can measure premolars. I got in the center of the tooth and I took the color from there. It's a B1. It's a moderate match because it's on orange. But of course, if I browse around, so I take the spot more to the proximal or more to the cervical, maybe I'm going to find some other spot, but this is not right, okay? Even if this match is green, which of course it gives you more security or more whatever, it is not the right color. The right color is in the center, in the part of the tooth where there are no stains, no shadows, no contamination of the gum, okay? OptiShade, it's a very, very strong device. If you know how to use it, if you're skilled, you can even go and measure molars. Although it's designed for cases of anteriors and premolars, and that's what I do 95% of the time, measure centrals and first premolars. You can go up to the molar if you really, really need it, and if the patient is collaborative and if you are skilled enough, as you don't need retractor, you need everything. OptiShade will do as a retractor. I'm going to show you a couple of cases, and very proudly, I have to tell you, these are really, when the product was finished, we started producing cases, and these are the first 3 or 4 cases that we did. So we took one picture with OptiShade, we sent it to our technician. Technician never saw the patient, and this is the crown, just place it into the mouth. That was it. For me, okay, it's not the crown of my life, but it was single shot, first time. Technician never saw the patient. Second case, look at it. Same thing, it's a crown over an implant abutment. I took one picture, sent it to the laboratory. Laboratory gave me another crown. It was a perfect match, and measure mathematically it's under delta 1, which is incredibly good. Okay, so this was just by trial and error. The technician was taking out the crown from the oven, was placing it into the model, take a picture, saw the difference with OptiShade, and decided if to put a little bit more red, more yellow, or another color. And so it was quite good. And so the cases can be even much more difficult. In this case, when the cases are incredibly difficult, I use the ceramic mixing application, which is besides the OptiShade, so you can calculate how to mask the dark tooth, calculate layers, calculate mixing of the ceramics for some of these complicated cases. Okay, so and either way, you have many levels of refinement. Okay, so this is another case I'm very proud of. This is a case of Dr. Victor Clavijo in Brazil. Look at this crown, where had a dark tooth. So he fixed everything, took an impression, and made the crown just with the information that OptiShade gave into the ceramic mixing application. Okay, so this was quite amazing. So now we're going to answer some of your questions that you can make or either live or by the chat. But for you to know, in this QR code, in this website, there are kind of 23 frequent asked questions with a very thorough answer. So let me see. Okay, so if you want to tell me your questions, I'm open for answers. And remember, we're going to have a second meeting on the 30th. So if you want to rejoin, just make sure you tell the Smileline headquarters. And you see, it's a very friendly device, very unique, very small, very competitive in price, and with endless application. And of course, future applications are the ones you're going to wish for. They're the ones you're going to propose. They're the ones your clients will start doing. So thank you for attending, and I'm ready for your questions.
Jordi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this very nice presentation. I think that indeed we all had to figure out how powerful is this new tool. It is really a revolution. You can figure out that during 50 years, dentists and technicians have tried to copy a color or to match a color without anything else than shade guides. And today, with the OptiShade, you can literally measure mathematically the shade and communicate the shade, which is really a huge advantage. So the potential on the market is really enormous. So we are really very excited about this new developments. And yeah, the first feedback we have from the market is absolutely fantastic. So we are all very excited. So this is really a game changer for all clinicians and technicians. So I think that we have a few
Yeah.
questions here. Let me just open. Anna Katsianinet is asking, thank you, Jordi. You mentioned iPhone 12 is the best right now, but is an iPhone 10 or 11 okay for use?
Yes. So any virtually any iPhone, iPad, or even iPod, which runs on iOS 14, it's compatible, perfectly compatible. Okay. One very important thing, as we are as well compatible with the iPad Pro. iPad Pro has a USB-C entrance. Okay, so please tell your client before giving them the final order if they are going to need a USB-C cable to be supplied. Okay, this is very, very important.
Okay, we have another question from Lorena Galariva, who's asking, can you analyze more than one point in order to get more information in different parts of the book?
Absolutely. So let me show you. Okay. Just a little bit of patience. I'm going to try screen mirror, zoom. Yes. Okay. So here you're looking at my phone. Okay. So is it possible to analyze more than one spot? Yes. So take a look. First, I select any patient. I select any of the measurements I have. And here I have the tooth, the measurement on the center, the target square, it's always on the center of the screen. And I just have to move it. Okay. In the moment I move, I'm going to start changing the color, finding matches or not finding matches. Okay, this red color sometimes terrorizes the user. Oh, I got a red color. It doesn't matter as long as your technician knows how to interpret this color difference by staining, by mixing, by improvising, or just by knowing this. Because here I have several shade guides. So this color is 1M1, or in Vita Classical, it's some I call it a weird A1. Okay, because if you look at the numbers, yes, it's an A1, but it's much more brighter, much red, and less yellow. Okay, why? Just look at the numbers. I have LAB 81, and the official value of the A1, it's 76.7, meaning that my tooth, it is more whiter. So it's incredible to see many of the spots. And why I didn't choose to have like a map full of points and colors, because it's useless. You want the color from here. All the rest are characterizations, because what will happen if I'm going to go down here? Of course, it's going to tell me that in the incisal, it's a C4. It's not a C4, it's a transparent, and you don't want that transparent to be telling you that it's another color. You want the color here, okay? Did I answer the question?
So there is another question. Okay, some people tried your QR code, Jordi, the QR code leading to the website. It doesn't work.
Okay, so I sent you, I'm going to send you via the chat the link to the questions. Sorry, I'm going to delete that QR code from my presentation, so I don't know what happened. Anyway. Okay.
Another question from Lorena, who asked, can you map the incisor parts?
So the answer, Lorena, good question. It's yes, you can map. Yes, you can get the LAB colors. And the thing, it's how to interpret this data. And there are tons of ways to interpret. The most, let's say, the most popular and logical one would be to try to obtain the same color coordinates with your stains, like trial and error. That's the train. The second will be to do it with the Matisse app, that they will tell you which opalescents you have to mix. The third one will be by telling specific softwares the measurement and the color of this incisal edge. Yes, you can map, and OptiShade, it's very, very good at mapping. Let me give you another extra Easter egg, a treasure you can find on OptiShade. And do you see on the square that says LAB at D65, I have numbers, okay? And those numbers are in color green, okay? Every number that it's in color green, it is inside the dental color space, and it's correctly read by OptiShade, okay? If I go to an area and the number changes, okay? For example, I go here to the gum, the number will switch to orange, okay? That it's correctly read by OptiShade, but it's outside the dental color space, okay? So it's enormous, the color space that we're reading. And if I go really to an area here, look, I'm on the left, on the right part of the screen. The numbers are in gray, okay? Those numbers are outside the dental color space, and they are not well read by OptiShade, okay? So that means don't waste your time trying to reproduce something which is on light gray numbers. It's not useful for our profession, okay? It's really outside everything. So when you are over the tooth or over the gum, you're going to get good numbers. And OptiShade tells you which are the good numbers, okay?
This is excellent. Thank you very much, Jordi. Maybe you can explain a little bit about Matisse, the special software for ceramic mixings and recipe.
Excellent. So every tooth you have, you can share, and you can send it to your email, to your WhatsApp, to whatever platform you want. But as well, you can export to Matisse software, okay? Matisse software, it is a platform which allows you to send the OptiShade measurements, and with that color information, the software tells you exactly which powders to mix. For example, if you see that your color, it's A1, but it's in red, it means you have to balance, okay? It means that you have to add to that powder, you have to add maybe more red or more yellow or more white. And just not to do it by trial and error, because it can be really painful and really sometimes deceiving, because as little as you switch to more red or more gray, the color of the crown can be disastrous if you are not really very skilled. This software already gives you the perfect recipe, the perfect matching. Okay, it will tell you, okay, take 2 spoons of color A1 and add 1 spoon of orange, 1 spoon of salmon, 1 spoon of incisal, and it will give you as well the right opacity. So this software, sorry, let me go here and share my screen. This software, it's found online, so it is not mandatory to have it. But if you are facing difficult cases, if you want like 100% reliability on this, you really need this. It's a very useful tool. So let me show you how it works quickly. So I'm going to export. Okay, I just send myself an email. And just going to wait for it to arrive. Sorry. It's about to arrive. Okay, it arrived in my phone, but not on my computer yet. Okay, let's wait until it comes, because here I will have to upload an image. And just I hope it arrived to the junk mail, but no. Another thing in the meantime that it arrives, I have a new generation MacBook Pro, so I can run the OptiShade app in my computer. Okay. I can do everything from here. I'm going to export to Matisse. Okay, I'm going to send. Yeah, you see. Okay, here I have, sorry for the delay. Here I have the OptiShade file. I'm going to drop it to Matisse. And just it uploads to Matisse in a matter of seconds. So here I have the case, okay? So what do I have to do? First of all, the best of the advantages, it's I don't have to calibrate any picture. okay? Everything, it's already contained in OptiShade. So I can ignore everything, gray cards, shade guides, anything. I have everything here. What I'm going to do, so I want to do veneer. I want to use, let's say, Emacs. I'm going to tell that the space it's very low, and I'm going to use the color of the preparation. I'm going to tell it in the cervical, in the middle, and in the incisal. Okay, this is what your technician will do. And the desired color on the cervical, on the middle, and on the incisal. Okay, I'm going to tell it's a young patient, and I will generate the recipe. So the instructions are that for cervical, middle, and incisal area, I can work just with the masses. That the recipes I'm going to use, I need 7 scoops of bleach 1 and 3 scoops of mamelon yellow orange. Okay, in the middle area, somehow the same, and in the incisal area, then D2 plus bleach 4. So I mean, I just do this in 3 different containers, and I have all the mixing of the ceramics for doing the exact color of these 2. Okay. And of course, if I want to do like implant crown, I just have to specify which is the zirconia or the lithium disilicate I'm going to use. And of course, the recipe will change. And it gives here the instructions, stain the framework with this kind of values, do the framework with this kind of material. Okay, so I go from a stained framework, and I will use the ceramic mixing. Okay, it's quite easy, and this for very advanced cases when you really need to fit your single central or your 2 central crowns in a perfect shot.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, there is just maybe one detail that was not mentioned, which is also very interesting. So you can figure out that that the clinician has an OptiShade. He wishes to send the measure to the lab. Actually, the lab, basically for reading the color, he doesn't need the OptiShade. He can download the app, and on the app, he can interpret all the same measurements. Of course,
that's exactly what is the desire. The most desired thing is that both clinician have an OptiShade and technician. It is, as you said, Oliver, it is not 100% mandatory. I just need an iPhone or an iPad so I can interpret the measurement. But if the technician wants to control the post baking, they need the OptiShade. Some people are doing something like, for the special cases, the technician ships OptiShade, the clinician gives the measurement, then clinician sends back everything. They do the crown, they control, so they are using one device. Little by little, that's what my laboratory, we were doing at the beginning. We just had one single OptiShade during the prototype stage. Then, as they became available, now my technician has one, I have another, and my other colleagues, clients from him, are buying, and they're more and more buying. There are another labs. There's another lab who has 3 or 4 units. So he's just sending and receiving, sending and receiving. So the versatility, it's infinite. I mean, you can do practically anything you like.
Excellent. So Jordi, thank you very much for this great presentation. Just for the information of everybody, the presentation was recorded, so very soon you can find it on our YouTube channel. And of course, any question is welcome. You can send emails. So it will be a pleasure to answer. And yes, we are really excited to really start with this product on the market. So yeah, thank you to everybody for following this presentation.
Sorry, I have 2 questions, unsolved questions. I'm going to be very quickly. If the lab does not have an OptiShade, they will just need to download the app. Yes, and the app, it's free and it's open on the App Store. As long as you have either iPhone, iPad, iPod, or an M1 chip MacBook or Mac or MacBook Air, you can interpret everything there. Second question, let me connect again my phone. Okay, here you see my phone. Just go to, for example, Safari. You go to the OptiShade app page. And here it's how the OptiShade works, okay? It explains what is the app, what does the app do. If you want to try it, here's the download link, download on the App Store. And on the bottom of the screen, there are the shade guides. So Beta Classical, it's already included in the app, it's the default. And there are many people that don't want anything else but Beta Classical. But for example, if I want Vita 3D Master, I just click here. I will ask, do you want me to download? I say, yes, please download. Here on the top, it's the file. So I'm going to click on the files, and there it opens on the files. So I'm going to click here, and it will tell me, do you want to open this? I'm going to say, yes, I want to open with OptiShade. And do you want to import this database? I'm going to say yes. Do you want to use it as default? Yes, no, whatever. And there I go. I just installed a new database, and you can do with all the 5 you have there. Okay. So it's quite intuitive. It's quite easy. If you have any problem, contact me at any time. I have much experience in this app and in this device. So just Oliver can give you my contacts, or you can contact me through him. I have another question. If a value of closest match is lower than the real color, do add more red or put less? So this is a very good question, and it depends on the readings. So if the original tooth, it's for example more red, yes, you have to add more red to the mixing you have already. Or the opposite, maybe you have to go something whiter and add more colors. Okay, so it depends on how you are interpreting the LED numbers.